So Sophie Cunningham just came out and said it. I mean, that's Sophie Cunningham for you. But she said, essentially that Caitlin Clark has the green light and can do whatever she wants within the Fever organization, a la LeBron James, those players who set their own system by their generational transcendent talent. Not exactly breaking news or not exactly something everyone wouldn't have assumed, considering not only Caitlin Clark's ability on the court, but her marketability and her impact for the sport. All of that would make you believe that the Fever would be operating with her as their solar system, if you will. But for Sophie to just say it, I guess it's on brand and comes with the territory, but it, isn't exactly necessarily the thing that people are expecting to hear talked about openly. And so Sophie Cunningham on her podcast, and it's the Show Me Something podcast with her and Wes Wilson. Here's a clip, the clip in question that I'm talking about, the comment that I'm reacting to. And it was really about Daniel Jones, I believe, and more about how circumstances, the context of it was about how circumstances can really dictate performance. Like you take Daniel Jones, you have him behind a terrible Giants offensive line with no receivers, he looks like trash. You put him in a better situation with the Colts, he looks a lot better.
System, it doesn't matter how good you are, you're not going to be successful on that team. You get what I'm saying?
Do you not think, though? Yes, I do think basketball allows individual players to take over, to like propel a team more so than one good player on a football team does.
True.
Whereas like, no matter where, like I would imagine a healthy Caitlin or like a healthy LeBron, wherever they go, that team will probably be above 500.
Yep. But
is that fair to say?
Yes, but I think that the reason behind that is because those types of athletes, they get to come into an organization, they have the green light and they can do whatever they want. Where that is very rare to get drafted and be able to control the whole system.
What do salespeople hate more than anything in the world?
CRMs. Yep. Well, Monday CRM, it's the opposite.
Right. Was CC making decisions like?
Yeah.
With it, yeah.
As she should.
No way.
As she should, but I also think that like
Ooh.
Go ahead.
That's crazy. I didn't realize that. She's just young. I just didn't think that.
But when you have a generational talent like that, she should have a lot to say of the system. I also think when you have like when she got in with Kelsey Mitchell, like those two, it is very interesting to see how that they have. It is interesting to see how they've grown to be teammates because both of them need the ball in their hands. But I think that they have played together enough that they both get that opportunity. And when they both can elevate each other, that team is unstoppable. You get what I'm saying?
Also, I guess you guys played at Iowa this year. Like, so what am I'm an idiot for not even thinking about that. But like,
that's huge.
Yes, of course.
So that was what was said there. And look, I don't know how much Sophie was talking about, like, being the shadow GM. That's the thing that's gone along with LeBron over his career. Lud GM is the nickname that's been thrown about and tossed about, or how much was just asserting control on the floor and having control on the floor. Caitlin Clark is bigger than anybody in the sport, bigger than anybody in the league, certainly bigger than anybody in the organization. So that's what I always said, like, even back to the Christy Sides thing, if Caitlin Clark, and I'm not saying Caitlin Clark got Christy Sides fired, but if she did want her gone, she would be gone. That's the thing. I said it with the Stephanie White thing too, if the friction was that bad. But I think that was the interesting thing we never got to see fully play out this year was the growing pains where Stephanie White is clearly a great coach and Clark is clearly a generational talent and Clark is a system within herself. But Stephanie White was trying to get Caitlin Clark to, adapt a little bit within a system, and seeing how that meets a perfect marriage. We didn't get to fruition this year. Obviously, the Fever reached heights they shouldn't have reached without Clark on the floor, but their ceiling is so much higher with Clark out there. As far as the Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell pairing, I mean, it's so dynamic. It's electrifying. You saw it last year after the Olympic break. Unfortunately, there were only fleeting glimpses this season. I've compared Caitlin to LeBron in the past. I mean, where she is a system in and of herself, just like LeBron James, where, she can command the ball and dictate everything that happens on the floor. LeBron gets to the cup. Caitlin gets to the cup better than people realize. LeBron actually wound up taking a lot of deep threes later in his career. Of course, Caitlin takes deep threes. They're both tremendous playmakers. LeBron is a physical athlete, unlike we've ever seen, but Caitlin's a much better athlete than a lot of people give her credit for. I mean, that part of the reason she's as great as she is she's a special athlete. I mean, she just also possesses special court vision and other things like that. She's hasn't quite been LeBron defensively, or at least early career LeBron defensively yet, but you get my point in the parallels. That's why from the total package, that's why I've compared her to LeBron more than anybody else, even if I see Jason Kidd with the outlet passes, or Steve Nash with the probing dribbles and dish offs, or Steph Curry with the deep threes. To me, that total package is LeBron, not to mention the way that they're criticized. And LeBron played along with Kyrie Irving and Dwayne Wade, and they figured it out, right? The Heat wound up winning. That's the parallel to, and I'm not saying Kelsey is either of them exactly, but it's sort of that kind of dynamic that we've seen work in the NBA and work to championships in the NBA and work with the Fever on the floor in the WNBA. I mean, Sophie really didn't play with them together very much. As far as Sophie's future with the Fever, she's also a free agent, so nothing is guaranteed. I think she's hinted at that. She said she's not going to she might be blonde, but she's not dumb. She'll test the market and the offers, but obviously she wants to stay with the Fever. I do wonder sometimes, knowing like that the weekly podcast is coming out and that she's never hesitant to speak her mind. If anyone's ever, like, what did Sophie say now? Oh, remember in the exit interview, she came out and said she was going to be good, and then blasted Kathy Engelbert, just let her have it. let the WNBA powers that be have it. And that's what's made Sophie into a star. I mean, it was featured heavily after she came to Caitlin Clark's defense, because people were so desperate to see somebody step up and stand up for CC. But what Sophie said isn't all that surprising. I think that would be assumed, right? We would all assume Caitlin Clark has sway, power, influence, all those things over the Fever and over their style of play. I guess it just wasn't necessarily something I expected to hear out loud today. A little bit of surprise, some off-season Sophie surprise.